Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to this week's Livecast. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm on here a few minutes early, so I'm going to be tinkering around for the next 2 or 3 minutes. So feel free to skip ahead if you're just getting here or you're watching this after the fact. We'll get ready to rock and roll in about 2 minutes exactly. Just want to make sure everything's working okay. Right back, I have to go downstairs. Just kidding. Yeah, just hanging out, waiting for some people to pop on. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay where all of a sudden there's like 10 people on, but it's saying 0 right now. So I'm just gonna hang out, get some water in. If you're seeing this today, I shot a good YouTube video this morning at the Red Rocks about this upcoming eclipse and full moon. It's a pretty powerful time this whole month. We're sandwiched between 2 alignments, and I believe it's going to climax and kind of peak up here towards the end of the month. So you can look forward to that this evening. Cool, 1 person's here. All right, cool. People are starting to come on. Hello, whoever's there, would you mind just saying hello or leaving a comment or something just so I know everything's working okay? Cool. Once I can see the chat going, then I'll do a couple of greetings, and just so I know it's working okay, so I can answer everybody's questions, and then we'll go ahead and get started. A lot of times there's a delay. There might be more people watching and just not registering right away. And we're still about a minute early. Cool. Okay, if anyone's here, would you mind just saying hi? Just a quick, try to leave a comment real quick. Just I want to make sure it's working. There you go. What's up, Lee? Hey, Christine. Hey. Thank you, guys. Cool, cool. All right, we'll wait a few more minutes for some more people to come on, and then we'll get rocking and rolling with the session. Today's going to be a good one. I'm going to teach you guys how to tune in to the channeling state or the flow state, some people call it. This is something everybody can do, and there's a lot of leeway for how deep you can get into the flow state. And when you learn how to get into the flow state, you can sort of channel that energy into a lot of things. There's a good conversation with a friend, a creative project, brainstorming your new life, a lot of good things that can come when you're more connected than usual. And that's essentially what the flow state is all about. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, I'll wait about 1 more minute and then I'll just get started regardless of who's here, okay? Let's see, I'll position myself a bit differently here. Getting a little bit nervous. The power was out randomly in my house, so I didn't know if I'd be able to. Well, I knew I'd be able to do this, but it gets very hot, obviously. It's like 105 out probably right now, so it'd be a toasty one for me. But fortunately, it came out about a half hour ago. Good morning, everybody. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get rocking and rolling. So briefly, I'm going to just go over the format. The format is, in a moment, I'm going to do the live session, which again is I'm going to talk about how to tap in to your flow state, which is the channeling state, which might sound like a lot of people associate channeling with a stereotypical channeler who seems to go kind of unconscious and this powerful entity comes through. That's true, that does happen, but the flow state, the channeling state doesn't have to be like that. A lot of times it's just sort of welcoming in more of your own divine essence, more of your higher self into your whatever it is you're doing. And that's what I mean by flow state. It's a very valuable thing to know how to do. And because I do that every single time I shoot a YouTube video, work with a client, or do these live casts, I know I've gotten good at getting into that flow state. And I'm going to teach you guys how you can do the exact same thing in your own unique way. So that's what the session is going to be about. Beyond that, I'll go ahead and answer people's questions. You can go ahead and start leaving them right now if you'd like. I have a bunch of people who submitted them prior. And if you don't know how to do that, right there on the main website, right towards the top, there's a spot that says Ask a Question. If you click on there, there's a little form where you can leave a question. Now, you can either leave your name and then your question, Or if you don't want me calling out your particular name, you can just leave it blank. And nonetheless, if you want to ask your question that way, that's good as well, especially if you can't make it to the live sessions, but you have something you want to ask me. Okay? So that's basically it. Before we do any of that, we're going to just kind of tune in together. I'm going to take you guys through sort of like a real quick little breathing drill that's going to help us like melt away the busyness of your life and sort of help center us all into the present moment so we can have a real connection here and have a real productive time together. Okay, so we're going to breathe together. Just take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Try to visualize that breath going deep into your stomach. Even if there's some tension, it's not always easy to breathe deep, but just do your best and have that intention. As you exhale, choose to allow all the stresses within your life to, at least for now, be put over there on the shelf and out of your mind. Breathe in that fresh prana, air, oxygen. Draw it deep and then exhale. Stress and tension, and let it melt away just like water off a duck's back. One more time. In. And out. Now, I want you to breathe as you have been, but have the intention of falling into your center. So breathe with me now. Inhale, and then you're sort of merging with that still, quiet space within like the center of your body, your happy place, your center. You feel centered now. You feel more grounded and more present. Lastly, another deep breath in, drawing it deep, and imagine your consciousness, the window at which you view everything, expanding, getting wider and wider and wider and wider, opening you up to the higher forms of intelligence that you are connected to your spirit guides, to your higher self, and all that good stuff. You can open up to it, expanding. Okay, are we feeling good? I'm feeling good. We'll get right into it now. Welcome everybody who's here live. It's great to see you. I can't see that closely, but we got Maya, Ann, Alex, Liz, Mary, Christine, Lee, another Christine, same Christine. Welcome everybody. Good to have you all here. Again, we're going to talk about this flow state, which might seem some sort of like I don't want to say useless, but yeah, not a very useful sort of abstract, airy-fairy spiritual concept, but it's not. It's one of the most basic things I can imagine. It's simply the allowance of your true core self to shine through more intensely than you normally do. And you can use that to your advantage for a myriad of different ways. Just again, having a good conversation with a friend, being persuasive, especially being, creating, whether it be art or any kind of creation. You can draw from higher aspects of your consciousness when you can willingly tune in to this state. And I'm going to share with you like what it is I do. There's a process. There's some fundamental things that need to be sort of laid down initially, but then I'll share with you like more of a practical sort of how-to step-by-step formula that you can apply. And I guarantee if you try this, you will feel it. You can feel when you're tapped in, and it feels really good. It's very energizing. You feel like you're in a good mood. Whenever you need to like make decisions in your life, it's wise to tap into this because you're seeing things more clearly. You're seeing things more from a higher perspective, not from like the fearful, stuck in the mud sort of way, which we all tend to slip into from time to time. So it's a very valuable and important skill that all of you are opening up to being able to do. But with a little bit of a system, a little bit of practice, you can do it, and not only do it randomly, but you can do it at will, and you can do it very, very, very well, okay? So the most important thing, as I said, we're going to sort of this is going to be like setting the stage. These are things that kind of have to be in place, at least to some degree, for this to work. The technique itself is fine, but without this, it's just not going to work. So A, you have to really be living pretty much in alignment, not with some other dogma, not with this guy's principles, not with what you've read, but with your own principles. For example, if I am living my life in contradiction to what I talk about, it's like when I share my videos, that's where I'm in this state. But if I'm not really living it, I can't tap in. And I've had that. I've had nights where early in my YouTube days where I'd go out and I'd party or something, and I'd wake up and I'd want to shoot this video, but I literally couldn't tap in because I was sort of like not living a lie, but I was just not really living according to the principles I'm sort of preaching and sharing about. So it's really important to be a true embodiment of your own principles that are going to be very unique to you, that really resonate with you. What is important to you? What are your true values? It's very important for any sort of degree of alignment for you to sort of be in alignment with them, okay? This is a big thing that trips so many people up, especially when I try to help people grow, like go on YouTube or any sort of creative, any sort of step forward that would benefit a person tends to put them in somewhat of a fragile state because they're stepping into the unknown. They don't know if they're going to be successful. So it's very important because it's already hard enough to protect your consciousness from negative people, from doubters, from any sort of dense negative energy. Meaning, like when I go to shoot my videos, I am tuned out the morning before. I wake up, I meditate, I'm sort of like really nurturing more of a pure state, knowing that if I read a really pissed off email or someone like negative energy or something bad happened, there's fluctuations within life. If I allow myself to get sucked into that, then it's like it doesn't work. You got to be kind of in a confident, pure state, which again, it's not always easy, but it's extremely difficult when you subject yourself to negativity of any kind. So if you're going to go and you're going to paint on Sunday, maybe don't talk about it with your skeptical parents who think painting's pointless and not going to amount to anything, because that's just going to, whatever spark you had, they just threw a bunch of water on it. And not only that, just like I was on the way to the Red Rocks this morning to shoot a YouTube video, and I was like letting my iPod play, and there's certain type of music I like to play for different purposes. Sometimes if I want to get a little psyched up, I'll listen to like a passionate song. But like Eminem came on. I don't dog him. He's actually, I think, a really passionate, intelligent, like good rapper. But it was sort of a darker song, and it was something I quickly turned off because I felt the tone should be more like it needed to be grounded and centered and more like loving and compassionate for this one, not so like in your face. My point is, we can be largely influenced by our external reality. And if you have something important to do, if you really want to be your best, whether it's for a job interview or a painting or finally going to the gym for the first time, any sort of forward step, you don't want to give life the opportunity to bring you down when it's already hard enough. So again, try to keep your consciousness pure, whatever that means for you. I listen to certain music, I meditate, I'll read in the morning, I wake up early. Little things I do can sort of foster and make it a greater likelihood for me to fall into this channeling state than if I was just to kind of leave it to the randomness of life, which is random, obviously. Another really powerful thing that I'm always preaching, and I know a lot of people don't do it, but I've come to learn the value and power of it, is to really to use your co-creative power. I wrote here, let intentions marinate. Meaning, if you want to wake up and do something, whether again, join the gym, go to the gym for the first time, quit smoking, start eating healthier, work on that book you've been going back and forth with for the last 10 years. Whatever it is, set your intention. Spend 30 seconds the night before and just like I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to paint. And from 7 to 8 a.m., I'm going to paint. I'm going to shut my phone off and just sort of like set that intention. Let that idea, let that intention marinate. You're basically giving your subconscious mind a command. And just like you wake up and you go to the bathroom and brush your teeth and hop in there, whatever the sort of autopilot things you do in your life without thinking, it just happen automatically, you can create that situation with these sorts of things. And it's very important. It's for me, I can't come up with an idea on the fly and then shoot a YouTube video. I have to let it marinate for me to really like allow it to come through the way you guys are used to. Okay, it's very important. And then I wrote see it first. I'm not going to get too much into this. You guys know I'm a big proponent of visualization. Essentially kind of what I mean by that. But I'm telling you, if you just try it, if you want to do something tomorrow that's important to you, where you want to bring your best self to the table, see yourself the night before. See yourself doing it. It's very, very powerful. Okay? So that's all kind of setting the stage. If you're not living in alignment with your own principles, it's going to be tough to tap in. If you're letting naysayers and negative people and negative energy sort of seep into your mind, it's going to be difficult. There's an uphill battle, as we said anyways. And then I just recommend these two as sort of a way to really give you a much better result, okay? Now I'm gonna take a quick sip of water and then share with you like my exact process, like how, like literally do I do it. And you can, I'm not saying this is gonna be something you should blindly follow, but I would imagine bits and pieces of it you can apply for more of a practical how-to. So me, personally, I like to do all my creative work in the fasted state. Meaning, I haven't eaten for a long time. Like it's, what is it, like 10:45? I haven't eaten since like 6 o'clock last night. Normally I finish dinner earlier and I don't have food in my stomach because I find that it makes, even healthy food, I feel less clear when it's sort of digesting in my stomach. And I realized this from the very get-go of my YouTube days, is that for whatever reason, when I have nothing in my stomach, I can tap in much more. Almost none of my videos, probably zero of all my 600 YouTube videos and all these other types of videos I do for like programs and stuff, none of them have been shot with food in my stomach. I'm not saying you can't eat before, I'm just saying give it a try because there's just less bodily noise and just more, it just feels easier. And any of you who have done an extended fast know this. By that 24-hour mark, you're like blissed out in the zone. Your spirit is like on board, just walking through life with you. It makes a big difference. So just, again, give it a try. That's my process. Magic time. I recommend you discover what your magic time is. Meaning, I can't get into the flow at 8:30 at night. It doesn't matter if I'm fasted, it doesn't matter if I did all this stuff because it's not my magic time. I'm sleepy. It's like the end of the day. I've allowed stress to sort of get into my life to deal with, like on most people on a daily basis, and it just doesn't happen for me at night. Now my buddy Aaron, he's like a night owl. He doesn't stay up super late, but he does great work later in the evening because he sleeps in a bit later. But that's his magic time. Early's my magic. What's your magic time? When are you at your best? The whole name of the game here is learning how to bring your best self to the table. Everybody has an ideal window of time within the day to do that. You want to ideally do this during your magic time. Now, this is more probably what a lot of you have been waiting for. Now, all this other stuff is highly important. I'm going to teach you like how I tune in, which I do mix up quite a bit actually, and don't do it much anymore. I used to sort of have to do a regimented practice. Now I just can do it. But in the beginning, I'm going to share with you how I tune in. So I like to set my intention. So before a YouTube video, a lot of times I will literally sit there like in front of the camera before it records and like, just like, sometimes I'll talk to myself like, okay, Victor, we're going to share a video and our intention here is to really connect. I always try to connect to my higher self. And I want the message to come through as cleanly and purely as possible and be helpful for the whole as much as possible. And I just want to bring whatever would benefit the viewers the most. I want that to come through cleanly and clearly. And sometimes I'll verbalize that. Other times I just kind of think about that. I just sort of like, you know, just think about that in my mind. Another thing I do is I'll literally imagine like my higher self like descending into me, like merging with me, and I'll find myself kind of moving around like this, just like channelers do. I would just kind of do this naturally. So you might find yourself kind of moving around, just visualizing your greater self sort of merging with you. Then I breathe. One time I did this funny tangent in front of my friend Aaron, and he could not stop laughing, because it's actually kind of maybe a strange looking sight to see me do this before a video. But anyway, it's what I do, okay? So regardless, the important takeaway here is I set an intention to tap in. I don't just like watch this and hope it happens. I say, Victor, let's do this. Let's channel. Let's tap in. You're going to do this. And then I clarify my intention. Why am I doing it? Why are you going to the gym? Why are you quitting smoking? I want to quit smoking because I want to improve my life, and I want to really wake up the next day with the strength to not stop at the gas station on the way to work and buy the cigarettes. And you just sort of like have that intention. And then if it's for a creative endeavor, then I'd recommend just visualizing it. It works. Visualizing your best self sort of merging with you. So that's what I do. You got to probably find your own way of tuning in. That might seem kind of strange to some of you, which is fine. But any sort of visualization that clicks with you will work. It's not that my process, my tuning in process is special. It's not. It's just something that I believe will work for me, and then therefore it does, okay? But I do have a practice, but over time, I don't have to really do that much at all. And you can get to that point too if you practice. This is extremely important, push through. This is where a lot of people get tripped up. I'm gonna share with you a book that really helped me tremendously. I'm not gonna read it for you, I'm just gonna show you. I'm not really like, I don't read this guy's books, but I'm sure you've all heard of him, most of you. His name is Stephen King. He is a very famous and prolific writer. He writes novels and movies and all sorts of good stuff. And he has a book called On Writing, a Memoir of the Craft. He's a creator. When he writes his book, he's in the channeling state. In fact, any really awesome piece of art, you're seeing someone who's basically channeling it. They're not coming up with it from their finite, limited, self that has just lived on earth a short time. They're bringing forth their soul into it. He does that beautifully. But he said every day he would wake up and he would write, and he'd have to push through the first crappy 500 words. What he's saying is that he didn't just wake up and like, sometimes there are those days where things just flow easily, but it's not always like that. You can't depend on it, certainly. Sometimes you got to push through. Sometimes I'll have to shoot a 5-minute crappy video or do like 4 or 5 different tries, and then I finally kind of lock it in, and then I start over and say, hey guys, and you just see this, you just see the finished product. So sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to push through. So you might try all these things, set your intentions, go to channel, and then it's like, it's not happening. That's okay. That's common. If you do all of this, look at it like you're building up this momentum. And sometimes there's more resistance than others, but this momentum, if you've done this right, is going to be big enough to whoosh, push through. Okay? Now, these 2 things are the most important of all, and I'll go over them right now. Authenticity. You're not going to be able to like bring forth your higher self if you want to manipulate somebody for something, or do any sort of anything not in alignment with your own values and your true heart's values and principles. I'm not saying you would, but sometimes maybe there's a temptation, I don't know. But it's very important to be authentic, to be real. If you're trying to be impressive, trying to be cool, you have some kind of like selfish motive, it's just not going to work. It's just because your spirit doesn't work that way. And then of course, practice. When I started my YouTube channel, I would have to do a lot more pushing through than I do now. A lot more crappy videos. There's a lot more inconsistency. I would have days where I literally couldn't do it. But I just kept trying and trying and trying. Now I know my routine. I know how to set the stage. I know how to like align everything to where there's the greatest likelihood. And 14 out of 15 times, I can do it very easily. And with practice, I've gotten a lot better at it. And I've also been able to sort of sustain the energy that comes through. Because when you are in this channeling state, it's very taxing to your physical body. And in the past, I would really struggle with that. I would get very exhausted. So regardless, this is something you can practice. Any of you guys, if you're creators or artists or of any kind, I'm telling you, you can multiply the quality of what you do by taking this channeling flow state seriously and doing your best to improve your ability to embody it. Okay? So that's it, my friends. Hopefully this serves you. I know a lot of you are going through this awakening, and the creative impulse is welling up within you. And this is going to help you really express this to your fullest potential, as abstract as it sounds. Okay, hopefully I presented it in a way where it didn't sound quite so abstract, because it's a very fundamental thing to human beings, in my opinion. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to just check out if you guys have any questions. If you do, now would be the time to leave them, and I'll start reading through. I got to look on my phone here. I can't see down there. And now we'll just start hanging out. We'll have a discussion together. We'll interact. I'll answer some of your questions and also some of the ones that were submitted beforehand. Okay, here we go. Got it up. Okay, let's see. Myrna, yes, I'm in the Pacific time zone, so like California-ish, the West Coast. Okay, no questions here, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the ones that were submitted. Again, if you guys have any, feel free to leave them. Otherwise, we'll just enjoy these, okay? This one is from Sandra. She says, I'm feeling a lot of interest in starseed information. You guys all know what that is. Starseed's a term that people say to people about people who feel a connection with the stars, with like the ETs, and they feel that they have come to Earth at this time to assist and help, and they feel a strong connection to the stars, basically, a starseed. And she's feeling a lot of interest in this starseed information. Does anyone know if trying to align with our star energy is beneficial to our life purpose or energy in general? She's been getting a lot of synchronicity about it, which can happen. That's happened with me. So remember, guys, there's nothing you really need to do to benefit your purpose, or it's really nothing. There's never a to-do list. It's always like, what's always the most beneficial to you usually tends to be the most obvious next step for you. And it sounds like this is a next step for you. If you're getting signs to research or attempt to connect with your star family, then do it. But you don't need to do it. But if the timing is lining up where you have that genuine excitement, then I would recommend doing so, yes. Now, I did feel, guys, to kind of talk about the warm-up phase. This is like a lot of people are very anxious to get off this rock, to meet up with their star family, and all the things that are sort of foreseen to be happening at some point on the planet. Many people are very anxiously and impatiently awaiting. But I can share with you my experience that peeps woke you up in the middle of the night and said, hey, we're here. That would be way too much. It's too foreign to most people, especially the masses. So there's kind of a warm-up phase taking place with a lot of people where you'll feel naturally excited to research information and learn about this kind of stuff, and you start getting synchronicities, and slowly but surely your mind becomes more used to the idea of that. The idea of that and the reality of that, they're two very, very different things. And I can say that I've been going through this kind of warm-up phase for quite a while, and it kind of comes and then it dies down. It comes and then it dies down because it's just a very intense thing. And I've had points where I've connected more than I was ready for. And I even sort of said, let's chill on this, because it's a very real thing. But nonetheless, that's a big part of this ascension process, is like realizing we're not alone in the universe. We actually do have loving family out there that might look unfamiliar to us, but yet is connected to us on a very deep soul level. And many of you star seeds are in the process of warming up and reconnecting with them. And the more people that can do that, the less shocking it'll be to regular people when, if and when, ships land or whatever. And then Sanders also said, parallel to this, it's starting to be very difficult to be around people. I know a lot of you can relate to that. Difficulty being around people. The supermarket is a good example that you left. Yeah, supermarket, Walmart, places like that can be very energetically overstimulating and taxing for a myriad of different reasons. But I would say this would make sense because your sensitivity, even though it's annoying when it comes to going around people for a time, it's that sensitivity that's allowing you to be able to perceive the calling of some of your ET family through synchronicity and sign and excitement. So that sensitivity is a burden on one hand, but it's also allowing you to really reconnect in a very beautiful way. Okay? So you're good. It'll pass. Oh, Lee, I'm sorry, it's Lee, it is Leah. I'm sorry, I keep calling you Leah. It looks like Leah. I apologize for saying your name incorrectly. It may not be a question, but I'm going to address it. She said, my creative talents become non-existent when I'm unable to channel due to depression. So here's what I've learned. I've learned that, yes, it's more difficult to channel and create when depressed, but it can be done. With enough practice, like a lot of this, especially sometimes I'd be depressed, sometimes you go through some craziness, just like a lot of you guys, and yet I had this daily video commitment, so I kind of had to learn to do it anyways. What I would find is that I could get into that state even if I was going through a lot. So I would say you might have to do some more pushing through. But a lot of times, not only can you do it anyways, but that can really lift you up, at least for a little while, out of the funk and out of the depression to remind you that, yes, your connection to spirit is real, and here you are again, feeling it. And one can be connected, present, and channeling, even if they're going through some depression or anxiety or whatever. Okay, so I would say just don't adopt that definition so wholeheartedly to where you don't even try when depressed. Okay, I would encourage you to just give it a try and try pushing through more, because you might be surprised. Okay, this is Christina. She says, hey everyone, it's been tough. Crowds and social situations exhaust me. I used to be able to work with it, but now it's just kicking my butt. What can I do? A lot of people, Christina, are probably experiencing that as well because of these eclipses going on right now. It's a very strong time energetically. And even though, like you said, maybe you've gone through that and then thought you've overcome it, and now you're feeling like that again, that's okay. I'm feeling it a bit too, honestly. It's just more sensitive than usual, having some kind of unusual, those ascension symptoms are back. I talk about it in my YouTube video. It's coming out later. But anyways, nonetheless, I'll help you deal with those symptoms. I just want to let you know that it kind of comes and goes, and that it's okay. What I would recommend you do is learn to focus your attention. I have what I call a go-to mantra. Go-to mantra is for years, and a lot of my one-on-one clients that are here, I would always press this on them. Learn a mantra. And mine was so hum. So for years, I'd wake up in the morning, and for like 10 to 20 minutes, I would recite, so hum, probably hundreds of thousands of times I've said so hum. Not a magic word, whatever little cue you have would suffice. But nonetheless, when I'm in public, I can so hum in my mind and focus on myself and tune others out. Because I have such a intense and ingrained association with that word, that mantra, in a particular centered state of being. So sometimes we get really exhausted in those situations because it's so stimulating, and it sort of forces, it's like hard to hold our own. Our intention is like, it's all over the place. There's signs, there's ads, there's life, there's people, there's emotion, and movement. It's just like crazy. It's like we've been locked in a cave for years, and all of a sudden we're like in the middle of like New York City on a busy day, and it's like overwhelming. But if you can learn to focus, you can exist in that same environment and not be as drained, because your attention isn't constantly cycling through from point to point to point to point to point. It's held within. So come up with a little mantra, say it every morning, and remember you can have that go-to mantra or your go-to cue in those circumstances. I already mentioned this, I wrote down here, nodal paths. Know that the eclipses and powerful alignments like full moons and so forth can temporarily intensify this. And I always notice a pattern with my degree of sensitivity to other people and just life in general that really always lines up with either a new or a full moon, but especially eclipses tend to be the most noticeable. Another thing is to kind of acknowledge that, yeah, you're feeling this. You might be kind of tired from this. So when you get done, go home and ground yourself. Kind of rest a little bit. Maybe you attempt my go-to mantra as best you can, but it just doesn't work. So regardless if you're being taxed, you want to restore your energy. So give yourself extra self-care. And this is kind of a big one that I think might not seem big, but it's helpful. I say decrease the importance of it. A lot of people, they experience like the slightest little symptom, or they're all of a sudden more sensitive, and they frantically research online and read books, and they sort of like really magnify this. It will be tremendously reduced, okay? So hopefully that can help you. Myrna says, hey everyone, since beginning my ascension journey, my energy level has really changed. I'm tired a lot of the time and really have very little interest in anything. I'm wondering how some of you have handled restoring your energy when you really don't have any interest in anything. So this is a little similar to the previous question, but a bit different. It sounds like your energy has been drained like a lot, to the point where there's like that chronic fatigue. And parallel to that is your lack of interest in anything. So it's like, how does one, what the heck do you do? I don't want to do anything, and I feel tired. Man. So I've experienced that myself, and I'm going to help you out here. A lot of the time, the fatigue I've found is like an overstimulation of like your adrenals, like adrenal fatigue, and also just an overstimulation of your central nervous system. So there's some things you can do that can promote the healing and rejuvenation of your adrenals and your nervous system. One of them being activities that promote healing. Like if you go and you do sprints, or you run, you're around people, that is like taxing to one branch of your nervous system, and it just drains you. But if you do some yoga or meditation or light stretching or some just simple like easy reading or go for a long walk slowly, those things actually promote and trigger another branch of your nervous system that will help restore your energy. It's called active recovery. Athletes do this. Studies have shown that doing these activities can promote a faster rate of healing than complete rest. So any of those things I suggested that you could see yourself doing, do that. Go for a walk. Pick up a good book. Okay? I would consider limiting stimulants maybe for this time. Maybe you drink a ton of coffee, and coffee's not bad, and everyone's different. Everyone reacts differently to caffeine, but in your case, I might reduce it. When I was going through this exact same thing, where I was like burnt out chronically for months, maybe even years, for a little while to kind of heal myself, I cut out coffee completely, and I love coffee. I wake up and just I smell, my wife always makes this espresso, and I smell it, It was hard for me because I genuinely do enjoy it, but it did help a lot to not give myself any stimulants. One last supplement I would recommend is something called ashwagandha. It's something that I took, an over-the-counter like herb or something that really seemed to, it helps sort of soothe the nervous system, and it can help quite a bit. At least it helped me. Most important is your attitude. Just let it be. Just trust. I know you're tired, you're bored, but I also know your intuition is saying you're fine. It's going to pass. This is just temporary. It's part of a really good thing. It's going to be worth your while to go through this. So I know there's a part of you that says that to you. So listen to that and chill out. Okay, just relax about it. Just trust. Let yourself trust. Okay, so no questions still. Just keep trucking through these pre-submitted ones. This is Ray. He says, "Hey Vic, when I first started meditating, I would occasionally get this feeling. The only way I can describe it is a feeling of solidity or familiarity. I've been experiencing this again recently, especially after last week's session where a question was asked about childhood memories." Yeah, he said, "I feel like this may be something like that. The feeling is like having a word on the tip of your tongue, but the mind is frightened by it. Based on your question, it's sort of, I can't exactly get a clear picture of what you're asking, Ray, but it sounds like with your meditations, you're like, you have a goal. Like there's a feeling, I need to figure it out, it's familiar, I don't know what it is, and there's that like intention to figure it out. But whenever you're meditating, you don't want to chase phenomena. You don't want to try to get to a particular feeling. You don't need to like feel energy. You just want to let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. So I would say in doing so, and having that like letting it go, whatever the feeling is, and trusting you, it'll make itself known to you with clarity when the time is right. That letting go, even though it seems contradictory, is the best thing you can do to let it come and make itself known, okay? Yeah, so that's what I'd say. Basically, like, what I've read in many books from enlightened people is that this enlightened state happens spontaneously. It's not something that they willed themselves into, okay? Okay, Christine says, "Hey Victor, it's comforting sometimes to picture the end game of Earth's awakening. I think awareness leads to increased consciousness of universal oneness, which leads to increased love, potentiates communication with ETs, and changes every paradigm we know, with us eventually becoming enlightened, peaceful, mature members of the wider universe. So there's so much at stake with all this. Is this where you reckon the whole ascension is heading, Victor?" I wrote a little, yes, LOL. That about sums it up, dude. Yeah, I think you did a very nice, articulate, and fabulous job of explaining. I would say that what you said is very much in alignment with me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys probably suspect as well that, yeah, everything you said. Sometimes when I like sort of try to, I don't know, tap into the future, it sounds kind of cocky or whatever, but when I try to like feel into like, where's this heading? What my senses tell me is that it's hard to fathom, for one. And I just sense a lot of speed. I feel like fast, like everything's just going to be faster on all levels, faster processing. Our life will progress faster. Just faster change, faster transformation, faster movement, faster thoughts, more ability. It's like almost like unnerving to think about. And whenever I try to do that and get like an idea, I always get the sense that we're going at the speed we're going for a good reason, and we're not ready for what we want in the future. But yeah, I think we all can feel an acceleration, life, transformation, the evolution of our spirituality and who we are, our sense of self, and just the world is going faster. Everything's speeding up the rate. We're revving at a higher frequency. And with these higher frequencies, all of what you said are more available. The more consistent embodiment of lighter, more higher frequency emotions like joy and passion and love and compassion, the greater sensitivity and perception of just like the heart-to-heart connection that we're all connected, we're all one. People say that, but most people don't truly feel that. But on this higher frequency, I think it'll be more of an experience, more of a knowing, more of a day-to-day reality, rather than something we try to believe and cram into our mind. And that real connection restored will lead to a lot more pleasant interactions with human beings, and just more creativity. It's like a spiritual renaissance, just like blooming now on the planet. And it's just sort of, I think, a manifestation of these higher energies. And yeah, in time, I think will rev up to such a degree that people start having experiences with ETs. They already are. A lot of you are. I am to an extent. I'm not going off on ships, but I'm going through this warm-up process that I was talking about. And I think we all have a general sense of where we're heading. But I also don't think there's a lot at stake. Even though actually I kind of think there is. I don't think it serves us to look at it like that. I just try to do my part and go with the flow and not be too attached to. I feel like whatever I can conceive of in my mind is not going to be necessarily capture what it will be like in the future. So I might as well just chill in the present and enjoy my life now. So anyway, that's a fun discussion. We could probably all go back and forth all day about that. It's kind of fun to ponder. Okay, let's see here. Okay, cool. A couple of questions here. This is for Caroline. Begun seeing someone with whom I have a psychic link. Okay. How can we strengthen it? Or will it happen naturally if we spend more time together? Well, on one level, I would say you can strengthen it just by wanting to strengthen it. If you have that intention, especially if you both do, you'll create that. You'll literally create that. Whatever, anything you want, how do you do anything? You intend for it. You're a powerful co-creator. But also, it tends to be what commonly happens naturally. You got like we link up with other souls, a psychic link, a soul-like link, oftentimes for the purpose of just accelerating ourselves, accelerating our transformation. And if that over time there will be less and less of those obstructions, and that connection that's always been there will be more readily available and experienced. So that's how it was with me and Patty. We met a long time ago. I was like 21 years old, and it was like magic. We had this soul connection that we could both feel even before we even knew anything about a soul connection. We just both felt it. And it was like magic, But then the fireworks came for quite a while, many years of blowouts, and these like blowups, the best way I could put it. We just triggered each other so intensely that it was tough to manage. We basically forced out of each other such an amount of insecurity and doubt and feelings of unworthiness and inadequacy and almost all sorts of stuff, basically. But now we have this connection, this deeper connection. So yeah, I think that will happen naturally, honestly. I wouldn't think there's anything you have to do. Yes, I can't really read your name, but hey, Vic and everyone, lately when I talk about different things, I get chills. I feel like it's my higher spirit agreeing with me. Is this correct? Yes. Thanks. Oh, Inbal from Israel, welcome. Beautiful. Yes, that's exactly how it is for me too. I have a couple of signs, but I get chills. Yeah, when there's ever anything that, it's hard to even explain, but a lot of times when there's a confirmation or when I sense something and I'll think, maybe this is this, I'll get chills as like a confirmation. When I work with clients a lot, one-on-one, I will get sort of like intuition to say something to them. And the way I have that confirmed is with the chills. I get like the chills. So I would say if the chills if you're not cold, if it's associated with kind of what I'm talking about, just getting different ideas or confirmations or trains of thinking or whatever it is like that, or signs, and you get the chills, that's it. If you can really go forth and believe that and start acting as if that's really what that means, it'll happen a lot more. Your belief will expand your psychic connection tremendously. So I really felt passionate to say, yes, confirmed, that's confirmed. Go with it, roll with it. You'll probably be blown away at how obvious the signs become over time. Okay, this is for Haley. I'm facing the challenge of protecting my consciousness right now from doubters and unawakened loved ones. I'm feeling it's time to stand alone and let go of my fears about acceptance and approval. Yeah, that's that's a complex one, I got to admit, Haley. Because on one hand, being subjected to those doubters, like unawakened family members or something, that can serve you, because as unpleasant as it is, they tend to catalyze a tremendous amount of growth. Like those emotions you're feeling that you associate with them have always been there, and they're kind of doing you a favor in triggering them. Now with that said, of course, it's difficult to be creative and productive, sort of like what I was talking about here, but a lot of people I work with, I'll sense that that's where they're at right now. Sometimes you'll find yourself stuck around these people that drive you crazy, and then we get mad and they're unawakened, and then we judge them, and yes, that might be true. They might be obnoxious or something, but at the same time, if you're that affected, it's because you're presently learning something. So the more you heal yourself, which is, you don't have to do anything super proactively, the more you just sort of take responsibility for the emotions these people create and just sort of watch them and observe them and allow clarity to kind of gracefully dawn naturally as it does, it'll kind of cool itself out, and then there'll be an opportunity to get out of Dodge. Now, other side of the coin is that sometimes people stick themselves around these people because of those feelings of unworthiness. And what I would say to that is, don't wait for those feelings of unworthiness, which might be reinforced by these people and your choice to stay here, stop you. You ignore them and you go and you do what you want to do. That's two completely contradictory piece of advice, I realize, but it's just never a one-size sort of solution. So you have to ask yourself, what is it? Do you not think you can do better than these people, and that's why you're choosing to remain around them? And of course, in doing so, they're going to reinforce all that? Or are you sort of intuitively, do you intuitively know you're here for a reason, and they're sort of helping you grow and heal? If that's the case, let it be, do your best. If it's not the case, you can sort of dissolve a lot of those feelings of unworthiness and doubt by choosing to not act from them. Like when I got onto YouTube, I had all sorts of feelings of unworthiness and doubt, and I thought people were going to hate me, and I suck, and all that kind of really negative, critical talk. But when I still uploaded videos anyways, I did my best. I was basically saying to the universe and myself that I am not going to be a product of these emotions that I choose not to identify with. They can be there, the thoughts can be there, but I'm going to go in the way I know I want to go. Okay? Hopefully something in there clicked with you a little bit, okay? It's not something I can just give you a quick little fix for. It's a very complex sort of situation. And again, I think I covered a decent base with that, okay? Hopefully that can help you. But just rereading your statement, how do you deal with the underlying feelings of shame that don't go away? I know I already talked about it, but what just popped in my head I wanted to share is confront them. That's what popped in my head for you. Confront them. Don't run from them. Don't hide from them. Don't distract yourself from them. Confront them. That's something that popped in my head, okay? Okay, this is a good one. For Cindy. Not really a question, but something that some people can relate to. She explained that she went for a long time when she wasn't getting any synchronicity. You know, I've always videos about 1111, signs of synchronicity, you know, 444. People talk about synchronicity, right? And sometimes people hear that and say, dude, well, I relate with all these videos and many other YouTubers, and I relate with the awakening process. I sense I'm going through it, but I'm not getting any of that cool synchronicity. Now she is, but I wanted to kind of deal with that sort of phenomenon where you wouldn't be here if you're not going this awakening process. You think this is nuts. But maybe you're not getting any synchronicity like I describe sometimes, and you feel like, what's wrong? What's the deal with that? So I want to kind of share upon that real quick. Is that I can just say with honesty, like me, my awakening started years before I started getting actual synchronicity like I do now, where I see like the numbers and, you know, I'm not going to go too deep into what synchronicity is, most of you know. So it's you can still be kind of going through this beautifully and just not yet getting the synchronicity like some people talk about. Now, ironically, I can look back and see it's always been there. Even before I had any sort of formal awakening, I've had synchronicity. For me, it was a song, the Guns N' Roses song, November Rain. That would come on in the strangest situations at very, very pivotal, important junctures of my life. And even back then, when I was in like high school, it would be like I would feel a sense of connection with my greater self, or God at the time is the way I described it. It's like a connection, like, yes, I'm on track. My soul and my conscious mind knew I was on track. Excuse me. A lot of times synchronicities, they come more abundantly as time goes on for a lot of us to sort of create that experience. And after years, I started seeing 1111. That was my first one. But now I can look back at it and see that I've been getting these synchronicities all along, and so have you, and so has everybody. You come in here with this assistance, these little signs to kind of keep you on track. Okay, so they might not be in the stereotypical forms that you might be hearing about online. For me, there's no video that says, if you ever see the song, hear the song Guns N' Roses come on at a very strange time, you might be getting synchronicity. So it might be your own unique cues that you're already getting, but they just don't match up with what you're hearing about. But yeah, it'll likely speed up for all of you, honestly. If you're not getting it now, you will be. I would be surprised if you don't. So. So it's from Maya. Okay, so hey everybody, hope you're having a good week thus far. Basically, she's been watching some videos where they mention marijuana and the awakening process. It's bad. She's read. How accurate is that? Just wondering. I'm guessing you like to smoke weed. That's okay. So I'm going to give you my take on marijuana, okay? No, I don't think anyone here anyway. Maybe there's some people in existence, but most people aren't completely perfect. And people, this guy over here, he can't stop freaking biting his nails or something. You know, a lot of us have these little crutches. Now, marijuana is kind of a different category because there's pros and cons, and it can stimulate consciousness. And so what my point is, you will organize your life to purify yourself at a rate that's appropriate for you. So maybe this guy over here, he doesn't smoke weed anymore because he feels better not doing it, and he feels lighter, and he feels more connected. But that's good for him. Maybe right now it's serving you, and maybe right now there's things you've transcended that this guy over here hasn't. So my point is, there is no good or bad. It's relevancy to your own journey. And as long as you're honest with yourself, you'll always know if it's time to stop or continue doing something. Examine the feelings you have about it. Maybe you have mixed feelings. Maybe you feel guilty. But where did that guilt come from? Does that guilt come from articles like that or what you read? Or does that guilt come from because you know you would be better off without it? So the point is, direct that question deep within yourself. Don't compare your journey to anybody else's but your own. when it's time to move on, if it is time at all to move on from marijuana, you'll know it and then do it and act accordingly, okay? That's my take on that. A lot of people feel very bad because they have a crutch. Oh, I still smoke. I still want antidepressants. They say it's bad, but it's not like that. Okay. Yeah, again, we're just very unique people on our own journey, and a lot of times it's just best. I'm reiterating what I already said. I already said what I had to say. Okay. Hopefully, it can help you. Okay, regardless. Okay, let's see. I don't think I see any more questions from you guys. Okay, cool. Oh, nice. Okay, listen, I thank you guys for coming. It's always just so fun for me to, I really like answering questions and kind of like dialoguing with you. It's just fun. I really enjoy it. And I enjoy helping you with these lectures as well. And I appreciate your time. Every person that shows up live really adds to the energy of the experience. And even those watching after the fact, I love you too. And I'm so blessed to have you all here. And it's just wonderful. So I have a new YouTube video coming out later this evening. It's going to be about this upcoming full moon. You can look forward to that. And with all that, I'm going to close, guys. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend and an amazing day. I'll see you next time. All right? Peace.